Good
Hi,
afternoon,
everyone.
everybody. Welcome to all that are joining us today, and hope you had a great week. And if you didn't, well,
Well, we're
make
here to
this
talk
next one
about
a better
that.
one.
Right. We're going to fix that this week.
Yeah, you just feel sometimes like life knocked you down, and you're just laying there, like sitting on your knees, helpless, and not to sound like holy roller, but like you get brought to your knees, like there's a reason. But there's always a brighter side to everything. And come on, we all experience every day things that could really bring us down, but we don't let them. So in a way, we're conscious enough to pick and choose what we want or don't want to focus on. But when life really gives you like a huge blow, you got to kind of stop, think about where you're coming from, looking at this, your perception, realize your feelings, and start practicing going to how can I turn this around to be the positive, because we all know that all the changes that take place in our life, at the time they might be painful, at the time they might just really restrain us and stagnate us, but you can't, in looking back, really look at a lot of them and say good didn't come from whatever change happened.
Yeah.
You have to heal your losses.
Well, I think
And
we're becoming more and more conscious to be able to stop and to know that that's not your path.
Right.
Because I think, I think for a while for myself, that there was a time that I just thought that was the path. And there's things that happen in your life that stop you in your tracks, bring you to your knees.
Yeah.
And I know that there was a few times in my life that I was like, wait a minute, is this all that there is? Is this like what we're supposed to be living? And my answer was a resounding no.
Right.
There is something else. And that is what led me on my own spiritual journey for, ever.
I hear you.
And there's still times. There was stuff that kind of came about yesterday even that I started to like have those feelings again, those like negative feelings. And I was like, hold on a minute. I was able to just change my life in the last year.
Right.
And just because you get those thoughts or things start happening, I was like, no, that is not the way my day is going to go.
Right.
And
Exactly.
change it,
And we've all had our share of losses,
Yeah.
Heartbreaks, jobs, relationships, things that happen every day. Your car breaks down on the way to work, or God forbid, I don't want that to happen. Cancel. But we all have our share of things that twist and turn the way we see things. And a lot of times we're actually making more of what something really is, because if we live understanding energy and understanding the reality of life and how the way we perceive life is the way we live our life, is the way we manifest, then you can understand that in that moment that you're having that trauma, that traumatic event, right then and there, go, what, God, right now, like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Give me the reason. I know I'm going to get through this. I know I live in I'm saying this separate. I know I live in a magical world. My answer to everything is, we'll get through this.
Yeah, there's
It's
always
for a
solution.
reason.
Yeah.
We're going to grow from it. Let's just get through it, and God's just going to help us get through it.
Yeah.
And, my mom always said, oh my God, I couldn't drag you to church, but I've learned that in my field, and I've learned that through different people that I've met. I've learned spirituality through friends and acquaintances and people that I've worked with, and something at a higher vibration. And I kind of feel like each time you leap to another situation that happens that knocks you down, I feel like each time you can get up, you're lighter because you're at a different place. Like each thing that happens to us allows us to let go of that part of our learning curve,
Yeah.
our spiritual learning curve.
Yeah. I've been very conscious of the things that might happen a couple of times. Right, the same thing that happens, you kind of see a pattern. Like,
Yes.
okay, I got the message. Like, I'm ready to move on from this one.
Right.
You know, because I feel like you can keep relearning that same message over and over again if you don't catch on to the pattern that you're experiencing.
I know. I'm just
Right.
excited because I wrote something about that down, and I'm like, oh my God, she's talking about the patterns. Let me find it. 'Cause it's good. I'll find it. Anyway, well, I'll get back there. But yeah, I know. It's like, all right. So it's a growth process, and I always feel like when life knocks you down, you got to get back up, and just put a little more into it, and stay focused on what you want. And it seems like people, places, things that don't work anymore kind of start to fade away, would you say? Like,
Definitely.
not 100%, but you start to really lighten up. And each time another thing knocks you down, you really see that light at the end of the tunnel a little quicker
Well, it's your perception changes.
with each,
Right.
yes.
And so in that, I think, like with the people, for instance, like, I don't want to have that experience anymore. So you
Right.
change your focus.
Right.
So that those people even that are associated with it kind of fade into the background. And now your new focus happens, right? And so then new people come into your life because now you're relieving that pattern, you're starting a new one, and now you have new people to share that with.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah, so not that they, anything happens to them or they go away. Sometimes they do, but I find more that they're not in my focus. So, like, I don't even care what they're doing as much, like, like the negative stuff, like
As when
drama
you were like
or
infused into it.
exactly.
And,
Yep.
and what happens is this light space is around you,
Yes.
and you begin to feel negative patterns
Mhm.
so much more quickly, and you're able to like divert yourself from the situation. So, life can be very challenging and very painful, and we feel very out of control, which is one of the things that, leads to feeling like you're knocked down because you
Yeah.
feel out of control. And that causes a lot of anxiety. And if we don't get rid of the anxiety, then we can't clearly think about what's going on. So the first thing I'm going to say is, and I found that thing, so I need to stop.
Okay, good.
Be aware of your impulses, okay? Look for patterns in your response to things that are kind of counterproductive to where you feel you are. And I'm not using want to be. I'm saying when you don't feel that something you're doing or saying doesn't feel like where you are, and where you are to me means your level of alignment. How much have you been working on this? How much have you been saying every day that you want to be divinely aligned? I know we say this all the time. It's a little mantra, but it goes a really long way.
Yeah, and I think you have to also believe it a little. I mean, you have to believe it. And so you have to become the person, right? So I'm working on a huge manifestation right now. And so when it didn't feel believable in the moment that I was having, I changed it to say that I am the kind of person that this happens to, that can manifest this, or like, so change it to something a little bit more believable for yourself until you're then back in your present place of going
And
forward.
what was that again? You wrote.
So I was just kind of having like doubt.
Write this down, because this is another way to,
Yeah, so I'm really big on affirmations.
You'll learn new patterns for change.
Yeah. So if you, some things, I don't know, I don't even know what to call it, but like if you're using manifestations and you can't believe, if you're not believing what's actually happening, and you know whether or not you're believing because you can feel it in your internal system, right?
Yes.
So when you're saying these things to yourself, funny how you can believe the negative things, right?
Yeah,
like,
but you can choose to see
and that's
the
what I'm
positive.
saying, right? So when we were talking before about like, here's the thing, when you know what you don't want, then you can focus on the things you do want to happen in your life. And if it feels like it's unattainable in the moment, then you can say, I am the kind of person that this happens to. You know, I will be this, because you're willing it to happen. So it's like choosing your words and thoughts
Very
to come
carefully.
along with it. Yeah, and you know, different times. I don't know why we're so programmed in, and that's what Phyllis and I are here to change.
Right.
The
The programming.
programming
And because
towards the
it's
negative.
worked for us. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really like worked
Yeah.
for us. So when traumatic things happen, I find myself going, I know that this is, but all right, so what good can come from this?
Yeah.
I'm like, right, what good can come from this? Because I'm finding the quicker I get and ask that, I don't even dwell on what's going on. I don't dwell what the situation is.
Yeah.
I don't dwell on what happened. I just go, what good can come from this? And I'm telling you, in that moment, everything changes.
Yes.
So look at that and be willing to make changes that make your life easier. You're always afraid of what's on that other side of that fear wall
Yeah.
because you can't see it. But you know what? If you're not taking any options to find out, then that's a shame, because you're really not allowing yourself to see and be able to utilize and believe
Yeah.
in the magical tools that we have.
Yeah.
My God, they're
so-
free, they're all inclusive.
Yeah. They're all.
You just
over the
need to
place.
use this, clear it out, bring this in, lighten up,
Yeah.
lighten up.
And if you're having trouble getting,
It's like
you
an
know,
oxymoron
if
today.
you're looking at the table, if you're having trouble getting from here to there because it seems so big, find what can move you to the next little step,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then you're like, oh, and then celebrate that you got there. And then, you know, this is a lifetime journey. This is not like I'm going from here to there in like a second.
Right.
And when you learn to enjoy the journey and
When
enjoy
you're
the
on those
sea,
low peaks, don't they last like forever? They seem
Yeah,
like they last.
but the synchronicities start happening. And,
Yes.
and that's the part I think becomes fun and part of the journey. Like,
Absolutely.
you meet new friends, right?
Yes, yes.
You know, now we're doing this almost a year together.
Yep.
Or over a year, but you know, if it wasn't for a series of events, I wouldn't have met Phyllis.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
and you know, when you start looking at it, and like something incredibly awesome came of that.
Right. Right.
And I was at the time looking for something else, and I was at a benefit, and I actually won one of the things you generously donated to the
Thank
event. And I was like, okay, you know, like I'm gonna give it a whirl. And then we met, and we have so many mutual friends and like-minded ideas.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, and so and that was actually at an event raising money for someone who has breast cancer. So that, you know, so the good thing that came out of that is kind of as this,
Right. Right.
right?
So yeah, absolutely. Like, know that amazingly unexpected things can come from sudden changes
Yeah.
or sudden changes, and those events that come to us, it could be a person or a place that you meet, make a connection. It's an answer to maybe something in your mind you asked. You know, I guess now I'm getting to, like, a lot of this has to do with really being in your consciousness and really look at things like they're a new start.
Yeah.
When the rug gets pulled out from under you, get right back up. Get right back up. Because that shift that just happened, for whatever reason that happened, there's just no doubt that something totally mind-blowing is on the horizon.
Yeah.
And I know with loss, especially when it's in death, there is a healing period. But I think that part of the healing, and clearly I've experienced this over the last year, part of the healing is understanding change. And is it an easy thing? No. You have your good days and you have your bad days. But I'm learning in every one of those moments where I might begin to feel my, the deep sadness, I'm able to right away go, oh, but this.
Yeah.
And you know what? That to me has been a tool to use for practicing thinking of the positive at that moment. You know,
Mhm.
you don't want to sit home anymore being depressed. You don't want to stay in your room. You don't want to not get out of bed anymore in the morning. Now, honestly, I never experienced those things, but I know that that's a lot of things that people experience,
Yeah.
when things happen and they get devastated. And really just taking that first step, and really wanting not to be that way, and in that moment, just saying, okay, this huge thing just completely changed and shifted my life. Some people are going, I don't even have a place to live. But you know what? I truly believe that God gives you exactly what you need, even if it's at that last second.
Yeah.
And if you believe, you really will receive. And I know that there's a lot of people on today that have shared beautiful miracle stories with me about like asking for something from the universe and then bam, it's on their doorstep. It happens. It's real. I certainly wouldn't be putting myself out here like this if it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you see is what you get. I'm not about to change now.
Right.
So be positive and choose to see the good in things,
Yeah.
situations, people, even though in your perception it's not something you would agree with. Well, that's about people, but I just got totally off subject. I'm sorry, but when you feel like life knocked you down, know that there's a way to get up.
Well, here's a really good example, I think. It's like, you know how people are like, it's Monday. I love Monday. Every Monday is like New Year's Day to me because it gives me a chance to celebrate and plan, and even in the winter, every day, every Monday, I'm like, yes, like a new beginning, give myself permission to start over. And Friday, I love Fridays. I love that it's the end of the week. I love that, you might partake a little bit in whatever you're going to do. But I work all weekend because I'm a realtor, so it doesn't end my week.
Right.
But it ends maybe some of the madness that happened behind me. It's good to have that beginning and the end to be able to celebrate that. Yeah, well, I mean, like some people, it's like Monday to Friday, and that's why they're dreading Monday. But be grateful that you have the job.
Yeah, but that's that mindset.
That's what I mean,
that
yeah.
is totally that mindset. And can I make another point about sometimes when things knock us down?
Yes.
Okay, there's a fly. And then there was a fruit fly. I'm sorry. So this other point that I want to make is sometimes the things that knock us down for the reason it's a repetitive thing that we do, and they're trying to let us know it's not working.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about looking at things that way?
Yeah.
And especially true for jobs and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And like we always say, the most important relationship is the one with yourself, and really being aligned with what you want, what your needs are, because everything you're putting out, like, I know you don't want to think, oh, I made this disaster happen, oh, I made this situation happen, well, you know what? We go through these situations where people put up roadblocks or people try to be roadblocks, and did you ever think that before this disaster happened, before this whole thing happened that knocked you down, were you already premeditating what the outcome was?
Oh, good
and
point.
You brought it to you?
Yep, good
Like,
point.
have you ever thought to look at it like that?
Yep.
It will really, really, really give you that little boost you need to be very aware of every thought all the time.
Yeah.
And yes, we're human. Yes, it's not going to be every single time. But you know what? I'll bet every single time, even if it's a little bit after, you're going to remember, ooh, should have thought, I should have stopped that thought.
Yeah.
Should have stopped
Well, you're
that
going to
thought.
get more aware of it. That's being aware, right?
Yeah, but that's a huge part of
That's
like
huge.
life not knocking us down.
Yeah.
You don't allow it to because you're not thinking about stuff like that. Like I say to my kids, like if you keep thinking like that, that's what you're going to get. I mean, look, they've heard this from me forever, and you're going to keep on hearing it from me forever and ever. And
It sinks in. That's a good part. It does sink in.
just keep in mind, like a couple of points to just getting back up. We'll get through this. God in the universe is protecting us and definitely has our back no matter what.
And wants
And-
us to live a good life.
And
Have a good
everything will
life.
be all right.
Yes.
And I know
All
it
is
sounds
well.
like I live in this magical world, but guess what? I do. You know why? Because I created it, and this is where I want to be.
And that's where gratitude comes back in
And
too. It's
believing
like,
in these things and being grateful
Yeah.
have really brought us a long way.
yeah.
And we really, really want to share this with you because it is such a really wonderful way to live and really allow yourself to be in the flow and not have so many, stop giving the universe opportunities to knock you down with things that are in your control.
There's a fly here.
So,
Alrighty.
all right, well, so thank you so much for joining us today. And as always, we're very grateful for all of you that join us, and we're very grateful if you want to share this with anybody that you think may benefit from the information. And if you ever want a topic that you want us to talk about, definitely write in, and we're happy to help out there.
And I did just want to give a quick update on Jamie had surgery last week,
Yes,
and everybody
yes.
was sending her positive thoughts.
Yes.
So thank you. She did go back to work yesterday, and she's
Beautiful.
probably in a meeting today. I did see her over the weekend. She's doing a lot better, but she could definitely still use some prayers. So keep her in sending positive thoughts
Beautiful,
to her.
definitely.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Thank you, everybody. See ya.